And now, I shall resurrect Slifer the Sky Dragon!
Oh man, he just brought back an Egyptian god!
Slifer's attack points are determined by the number of cards in my hand. And since I'm holding 4, he now has 4,000 points!
Hey guys, this is Slifer Maniac. Guys, I'm so hyped. We are finally here to end this character of the last week, obviously. The character with the character deck profile of Weevil Underwood. And Weevil Underwood is, of course, a very sneaky, crafty, wannabe menacing, but also a very capable, skillful duelist who presumably won the regionals, and this was really much, much like his peak point in his career, and he did never get above that. Okay, he was invited to the Duelist Kingdom and land tournament, of course, and also into the Battle City tournament, but still he didn't make it very far there. So, of course, like you guys might know, his specialty are the insect monsters. In and around it, we're gonna he's playing his key strategy around his insect queen, of course, and to bring it out, and like I think Solomon Muto, the grandfather of Yugi, said during the battle in the Battle City arc from Joey Wheeler against this Weevil Underwood, the insect monsters and the cards that are like stacked around it, they are very, very much sneaky and tricky, and you have to find a way around it. So just, I don't want to state more about it. So just, I'm talking a lot of pre-deck profiling, you might say. But I want to just dive into it and just discover the facts into the strategy of this deck with you, of course. And just let's tap into it, and then we shall unveil his mysteries behind the strategy and tactics of this deck. So, there we go. Of course, I did manage a little bit to make a deck profile, which is playable in the Go format. So I didn't include all of the cards that he had, because he had many vanillas. I did include some, of course, but not all of them. Also not all of the very ones he possessed in the Duelist Kingdom arc, but most of these, and from the Battle City arc as well as from the Duelist Kingdom arc, and of course in and around the key and main strategy around this deck. So let's dive into it. We are going to see which monsters he got. First of all, he got Killer Needle. Killer Needle was a monster I think he at least possessed, but I maybe even played out in the Duelist Kingdom arc. I'm pretty sure about that. Not 100%, but very sure about that. 4 stars, wind attribute, 1,200 attack, 1,000 defense. Of course, an insect normal monster, vanilla, like I said. So not that very wild. Then, next up is Gokibor, earth attribute, 4 stars, 1,200 attack and 1,400 defense. Of course, also an insect normal monster. And the Battle City arc was very interesting because he, I think, gave this one as a present to another guy who he hired, a little guy, which stole the dual disc of Joe Wheeler. And also this card was then taking part in the very curious part into the Orichalcos arc, namely that matter that Weevil told Atem at this point that he had Yugi's soul in his hand, and because Atem was like a little bit aggressive and demanding the soul of Yugi from this card, Weevil just broke it and cut it into pieces with his hand, but it was just only this card and it wasn't Yugi, so he just bluffed. Yeah, but further on, it's like another vanilla monster. Then I have a 3-off, 3 times the big insect. Now it's very strange translation because in Germany it's called the giant ant, but in English it's big insect. So anyway, we have a giant ant on the top of the cover, so it makes all the sense of the word. So it's Earth attribute 4 stars, 1,000 insect normal type, 1,200 attack and 1,500 defense. So not that bad of a defense stance as well. The attack stance are like lower standard, I guess. But still, and the context of having this as a 3-off is not just like I have it like that and as a 3-off, because it has a correlation with another spell card which we are coming to later on. So I didn't do it just like that. Then I have Flying Kamakiri number 2, 4 stars, wind attribute, 1,500 attack and 800 defense, also of course insect normal. But one of the last vanillas that I included in this deck. And of course, Flying Kamakiri number 2 is in there due to the fact that he played it out in the Battle City, but there was also Flying Kamakiri number 1, which I also have in here. And there was another card which is an OCG exclusive, what I do not understand at all, because it's, you could just print it out. And that is a very card, Kamakiri Man, which I don't have here, like I said, is the OCG exclusive. I could have bought it, but I didn't. It wasn't necessary. Otherwise, maybe in the Turbo or the Ultimate Weevil deck profile, or one of the others, maybe I will include it in the deck profiles in the future. Then, now, very, very much key monster card into this deck, which makes out its very core, is the Petite Moth. Earth attribute 1 star, 300 attack and 200 defense, an insect normal monster, but it does play a role with a lot of other monster effects, and of course with 2 of the boss monsters as well. So it's very, very essential to this deck to bring this one out, to not since you have to you're going to be needed it in order to summon your insect queen, but the other one big monsters which I also have in here. Then we're just closing in onto the very point that I just made, namely with lava moth. I don't know how to spell it, but anyway, it's also of course in addition to that one, and I don't know if this card explicitly existed in the anime, but I think Petite Moth existed, but this one I'm not sure. But it has 2 stars as an Earth attribute, 500 attack, 400 defense, and its effect is this monster cannot be normal summoned or sacked. This card can only be special summoned by offering Petite Moth as a tribute on the second of your turns after Petite Moth has been equipped with Cocoon of Evolution. So you have to have the Petite Moth also in order to bring this one out. And then we are just talking about Cocoon of Evolution, which is also essential. So I just put in here as a 3 of Cocoon of Evolution, which of course is also another stage in order to bring out the boss monsters of this deck. Not all of them, but like I said, not Insect Queen, but the others. And Cocoon of Evolution has also another advantage because it has, as an Earth attribute, 3 stars. Its attack is 0, but its defense stats are 2000, so it's a very good stalling possibility in defense lineup for you to bring out. And its insect effect, of course, is you can choose one petite moth that you control and equip it to this card on your hand. As long as petite moth is equipped to this card, its attack and defense stats are becoming the very ones of this card. So yeah, if you have this on your hand, then you can strengthen up the defense stats of your petite moth in order to keep it on the field, and of course in order to eventually bring out the boss monsters that I will be coming to later. Then of course, and it was in the Battle City arc, he played out Cockroach Knight, which is a very rare card in the TCG. It was in the tournament pack 1. I think I bought it especially to include it in the deck profile of Weevil Underwood. Cockroach Knight is an Earth attribute, 3 stars, 800 attack, 900 defense, and its effect is when this card is sent to the graveyard, it is returned to the top of the deck. And he used it to bring it all always back to the top of his deck, to offer it as a tribute for his Insect Queen. In order for his Insect Queen to attack, it has the effect that it needs a tribute, monster tribute. So he just tributed all the times the Cockroach Knight, and then played onto the Cockroach Knight's effect and brought it back onto the top of the deck. And then next turn he just drawed it again and then offered it again in order for his Insect Queen to attack. Then of course, and I already said it, Flying Kamakiri number 1, which is an awesome wind attribute, 4 stars, 1400 attack, 900 defense. So it's the first stage, so it's not that strong of an effect. Attack stats 1400, just 100 points lower than the second one. But this one has an effect in comparison to the other one, which is if this card is destroyed by battle and brought onto the graveyard, you can put one wind monster with 1500 attack or fewer as an attack as a special summon from your deck, and you do your open attack position to the field. So yeah, there are a couple of that, of course. For example, also Petite Moth would be a possibility, or Lava Moth, even if you have already Petite Moth out. Cockroach Knight, Cocoon of Evolution, of course, also your vanillas. But yeah, we just, the basic and aim and goal of this deck is, of course, to bring out your Petite Moth on your Cocoon of Evolutions, in order to eventually bring out the boss monsters. Or more to the point, one of the main strategies of this deck. Another one is, of course, this very one, which I also like very much, which is necessarily Parasite. So Parasite, an Earth attribute, 2 stars, by 500 attack and 300 defense. It has a flip effect. So you have to, of course, set it first face down. Shuffle this card as face up onto your opponent's deck. If you draw this card after it was added to your deck by its effect, special summon defense position. If you do, take 1000 damage. All monsters controlled by the player that summoned this card by its effect become insect monsters. We have a strategy in mind, which plays around another spell card, which I will be revealing also later on. And in the TCG, not in the anime, but in the TCG, you have to have, along the Parasite, another monster along with it in order to play out the Parasite very well, which is Drillbug. There we go. Drillbug has also an F attribute with 2 stars like Parasite. And it's an insect effect with 1100 attack and 200 defense, so its attack stats are not that bad in comparison to Parasites. But the effect is, if this card makes battle damage to your opponent, you can take one parasite card from your deck and choose it and mix it back into the deck, and then you can put it on the top of the deck. So your opponent has to draw it then. So if it's like, I don't know, he just mixed it in his deck, then you make battle damage to your opponent and he has to draw it in the next turn. So yeah, you can 1000 battle damage and all of his monster cards turn into insects eventually. Then another crafty tactics which he has in order to kind of restore his life points or to increase it is Kizaite, which has 2 stars as a dark attribute. It's no insect. It's the only monster card in this deck that is no insect monster type. And its effect goes like that. When your opponent's monster attacks this card and face down the position, so you have to set it also in the first place, this card becomes an equipped spell card equipped to the attacking monster. No damage calculation is conducted. During each of your standby phases, increase your weapon by half of the attack of the monster equipped with this card. It's also a good defensive measure if, for example, your opponent has a strong lineup of board of monster cards which has good attack stats, then you can also equip it to one of the monsters and then get attacked it. And then, of course, gain more life points. I mean, increase your life points is always good. And it also plays into the hands of Weevil, making it more difficult for your opponent to, of course, win the game that easy. And then you have, of course, time in order to bring out the Petite Moth, and then in a couple of turns, like the effect is with the Grand Monsters that I will be presenting you very soon, to bring it out then, or bring them out. Then I have, as a 2-off, because I thought it was a very handy effect, Pinch Hopper as a 2-off. Pinch Hopper is very interesting because Pinch Hopper has 4 stars, Earth attribute, 1000 attack, 1200 defense. So it's not about that, but it's about the effect, because the effect, if this card that you control is brought into the graveyard, no matter how, it's not said about battle or something like that, then you can special summon 1 insect monster from your hand. So you have to keep in mind, we have to have bring out one of the 3 boss monsters in this deck, which not that easy to summon. So if you have to Pinch Up, or maybe even as a 3-off, then you can bring them out more easily. So these were all cards he played out, except for Drillbug, which is a TCG exclusive, but brings about the Parasite card very much easier. Because the effect in Parasite is also another one than in the anime, because if it is attacked, then it just intoxicated already the deck from the opponent. But here you have to, and the TCG, you have to draw it also. So with Drillbog you can draw it. I think in the anime they had a spell card which also had the artwork from Parasite, and you could bring out Parasite from the deck of the opponent if it was in there. I think even if there was in general any insect monster, I'm not sure about that point, if it just was specifically talking about Parasite or insect monsters in general. But yeah, just it was this combination. In the TCG we have the Drillbug combination with Parasite. Then further on I have the Skullbug, which is a Earth attribute, 4 stars, also insect type, 500 attack and 1500 defense, which are not that bad also in defense stats. And it has also the ability to increase your life points by 1,000 points if this card is destroyed. So if you want to have an exact tech that increases your life points, and you can have it as a 3 off as well there, and also it does combine its effect very well with Kizete. So there we go. Also, we do have another one before we're coming to the boss monsters. I have to just make a little bit more space. Maybe put them a little more tighter in there, and then we can of course make space for the boss monsters very soon. And there we go. That's a little bit better. Well, like I said, the boss monsters are very much playing along the effect with Petite Moth, except for Insect Queen, which is a little more independent, you might say. But the other ones, I can also put it here. But the other ones are one of them. Before we come, also have another one left out, which is Insect Soldier of the Sky. Insect Soldier of the Sky is just bring it about a little bit, zoom it in to have all of the cards on the picture. Insect Soldier of the Sky is an wind attribute, 3 stars, 1,000 attack and 800 defense, and its effect is if this card battles another wind monster, you then just during the damage step increase its attack by 1,000 points. So if we have another wind type monster, then it might come in practical and handy. So there we go. And then of course now if I'm finishing a little bit the monster line up to the very point that I was talking about, the core strategy of this deck. One of the very core strategies, because there are more than just one. We have Great Moth and the perfect ultimate Great Moth. I'm pretty sure about and aware that the Great Moth was in the Duelist Kingdom arc his boss monster. And I think in Battle Seed it also was played out. This one, I'm not certain whether it was played out in this arc also as well, or just in the Orichalcos arc. But yeah, I didn't look it up, so yeah, we might put both in there so it's a little bit stronger. So of course, Great Moth is an Earth attribute and possesses 8 stars, if I'm not been mistaken, with 2,600 attack and 2,500 defense. And as I already mentioned, this card can only be special summoned by having Petite Moth and the Cocoon of Evolution equipped with Petite Moth in the fourth of your turns after another. So you have to wait. You have to have this equipped with this one, and then wait 4 turns, and then you can special summon this one. And then we have, of course, like I said, I'm not certain whether he played this one out in this arc specifically, but perfectly Ultimate Great Moth is also an Earth attribute and has also 8 stars, but 3,500 attack and 3,000 defense. And its effect is this monster can only be special summoned by offering Petite Moth as an attribute on the 6th of your turns of the Petite Moth has been equipped with Cocoon of Evolution. So this one after the 4th and this one after the 6th, which makes it, of course, more difficult to summon this one, which is, of course, his, in terms of attack and defense, that's the strongest monster all in all in general. But the very main monster that he got is Insect Queen. And the Insect Queen like I said, is a little bit more independent in terms of that. You don't have to have crazy combinations like with Petite Moth and Cocoon of Evolution. so that as a matter of fact you can summon it more more easier, like in comparison to the other two boss monsters. It is an earth attribute. It has 7 stars, but only 2,200 attack and 2,400 defense. So we have to take into account that 2,200 attack with for a monster with 2,200 attack for 2 tributes are a little bit low. I think a little Dark Magician has 2,500 attack, and it has 2 tributes. It's one, not the weakest one, but still you might say he may be average, but 2,200 is very much weak. For example, Jinzo possesses 2,400 attack and has only 6 stars, so you have just want to use 1 tribute. But still, Insect Queen is his main monster card and has the effect and ability. Of course, 2,200 attack and 2,400 defense, like I already said. It gets for every insect monster on the field 200 attack points. So this downside that it has is compensated by its effect. But at the same time, it has another disadvantage, which is it cannot declare an attack up to the point. Just if you can tribute one monster, then it can attack. It's like a little bit like Panther Warrior, but then it has another advantage because once per turn during the end phase, if this card destroyed an enemy monster card in battle, then you can summon one insect monster token with Earth attribute, 1 stars, 100 attack, 100 defense, as a special one in the attack position. So you can also then special summon some monsters, but yeah, you can see this as an upside, but also as a downside, because in the anime it was like this: the eggs or the tokens that were coming out, they were very much undefended, which means that it led ultimately to his defeat, because Joey Wheeler attacked it, I think, maybe with Gearfried the Iron Knight, perhaps. So that as a result, Weevil lost the game. But we don't have a couple of spell cards which could prevent this from happening. And as I already said, I will be explaining to you guys some cards, monster cards, have combinations with spell cards. And I will be revealing the very ones to you guys now very soon. Yeah, of course. Okay, so these, I have to keep these and these and this and this and this and that. So there we go. You can keep these and these. So there we go. Yeah. So spell lineup, I will be talking to these very dudes out there very soon. But spell lineup as a staple, of course, I put in there Monster Reborn, and this artwork very very groovy, I would say, or a little bit old-fashioned. Pot of Greed as a draw power. Now we do have multiplication of ants in there. I put in there as a 2 of, and multiplication of ants, if you look at it very closely, is the big ant or the big insect in itself, and it works like that. Offer 1 insect type monster on your side of the field as a tribute, special to summon 2 army ant tokens. Insect type Earth, 4 stars, attack 500 and defense to 1,200. To your side of the field, tokens cannot be used as a tribute for the tribute zone. So it's also could be if you, like, I don't know, tribute one of these or other ones, then you have 2 of these tokens as a good defense lineup. So I put in there as an 2 of. You might do it also as a 3 of, would work even better. Yeah, and the correlation is of course this this artwork is the ants. You have the ants in here, and you have an ant in there, and then the multiplication of ants. Then further on, it's now very key. Now I can put these just aside. We have, and it's very very much essential to this deck, to have insect barrier. I put in the as in 3 of, because it prevents all your opponents insect type monsters that he or she controls, they cannot attack. So if you put up drill bug, and drill bug puts life damage onto your opponent, and you have parasite and you're already in your opponent's deck, and she draws it, then it is to be revealed. Then all of his deck monsters turn into insect types and cannot attack anymore because we have insect barrier in there. And yeah, it's very good stalling effect as well, as a continuous spell card. Yeah, so then you can put up your combinations with Petite Moth and Cocoon of Evolution, and make more boards, and of course lineups. And that's why also I have it as a 3 of, because maybe he or she has a spell or trap destroying board breaker, for example. Then you have another one and another one in your forehand. So yeah, it's very much making this deck far more capable of taking action and building strategies. Then we do have a card which also plays with this very cunning effect, which is Insect Spray, which destroys all insect type monsters onto the field. So if you maybe do not have any monster lineups anymore, or maybe weaker ones, and he or she has a stronger board, and you have insect barrier on the one hand, but you don't have, or you maybe do not have it anymore, then but parasite did put its effect into play, then you can play this one out and destroy his stronger monster lineup as well. But just keep in mind, then maybe for example you could combine this one with Cockroach Knight, who can just put it then with this effect back onto the top of your deck, or Pinch Hopper, that you could then special summon your Insect Queen from your hand, for example. Or another one of those which have graveyard effects. I think these were mostly the main ones, but there were other ones as well, I think. I'm not sure. The Cockroach Knight has the effect, and the Pinch Hopper. Yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah, that's all we need, of course. Yeah, Flying Kamakiri number 1 as well, but Flying Kamakiri number 1 just puts the effect into play with being destroyed by battle, so it's another effect in comparison to that one that I just mentioned. Just want to bring this one in order. There we go. So, yeah. There we go. So, further on, just some monsters put in there. We also have Jade Insect Weevil, which has the effect. If your opponent chooses one monster of insect type from his deck after the deck has been shuffled, so it's leaning on. Sorry guys. Is leaning on the effect of Parasite, of course. And then the chosen card is to be put on the top of his deck. So you don't, if you don't have Drill Bug already, you can play the Jade Insect Whistle, and then Parasite in the deck of your opponent also brought up. So we have also this spell card, which it was another one in the anime. It was artwork with Parasite on it, but yeah, Giant Insect Whistle has the same effect, so we just don't bother it. Then I have a card which, now two cards which are a little bit of bringing boost of the attack stats and the defense stats, or rather just one of them. One of them is the insect. I think insect. I don't know how it's called in English. In German, it's like insect. It's like insect tank or something like that, with laser cannon, and it's an equip spell card which you can equip to an insect monster and give it then, or increase rather, its attack stats with 700 points. So it's a very powerful equip spell card. And another one we just have simply laser cannon, which increases the on the one side the attack, as also on the other side the defense stats by 300 points only. Then I have another one which is a good reference to the Duelist Kingdom, which is Forest. So we have this field spell card which increases all insect, beast, plant, and beast warrior type monsters attack and as well as defense stats by 200. So just imagine you have this one already on the field with this 500 points, not that bad. Or maybe this one, this, and then you have 1000 points. That's also very strong. So this was it. We did have I think 2 or 3 another spell cards from the Duelist Kingdom and the Battle City Arc which are not released yet. So we just go along with this one. And this was one of the reasons why I just filled up these two. I'm not very certain whether he played these two out. So yeah, I just put it in there also. And give this deck more consistency and of course withdrawing power, then also to take eventually your cards, or get your cards that you want in your hand. Then we have Infinite Dismissal as the first trap cards. Infinite Dismissal was one of the cards which were shown as we saw the regionals finals from Weevil Underwood against Rex Raptor. We played it out as a continuous trap card. Level 3 or lower monsters are destroyed during the end phase of the turn that they are normal summoned or flip summoned. Yeah, so it can also work with Cockroach Knight, for example, and you can also bring it back also already to save it maybe from an attack. Yeah. For example, or destroy the opponent's three or lower monster. Yeah. This is one possibility. Then we had a couple of other trap cards, but they are not released yet. So I had to put up some as an in order to filling the gap. One of them is Raigeki Break, which of course if you discard one card, then you can destroy one card on the field. And then I had Etesian Trap Hole, which also was a card, or it was comparable in the anime, that if it's played out, if your opponent summons a monster or monsters half that monster's original attack, or the monster's original attacks. I think there was a trap card in the anime which was comparable, but yeah, I'm not 1000% sure, but I think it was like that. Then I have I don't know who you call it, Tribe's Law or something like that. A card which Tem and Yugi played out during the Battle City 4-on-4 battle to determine the finals. And it has a stalling effect. It's a permanent trap card. You have just to call out one attribute of a monster, or more to the point, one type of a monster. And the very type, like beast, warrior, or insect, cannot attack anymore at all. All of the type cannot attack. And you have to, I think, pay 1000 life points. No, you have to tribute one monster per standby phase. You could, for example, also put to tribute one of the tokens. So you have this symbiotic relation between the Insect Queen's effect and this effect and then you can play it out all together as a good combination, and then it won't be that much a problem. And it's very good, of course, against decks which is prefer one type, for example, in spellcaster deck, or I don't know, beast warrior, or something like that. So it's also coming in very convenient. And then this was my lineup from the trap cards. We do not have any fusion monsters because he didn't possess any fusion monsters during these 2 arcs at least. I'm speculating now. I think in the Orichalcus arc maybe he had one, but I'm not sure. I think maybe I'm misjudging it and just I don't know for a fact that Rex Raptor had one fusion monster in the Orichalcus arc, but I'm not sure about Weevil. I know that in the Photon Hopper Nova set that came out last year, I think it was, yes. He had there was brought out one insect fusion type support card for the Weevil deck, and maybe in the turbo deck profile, then I will include it if I draw it, maybe then, or take it, bring it on and bring it here, just hire it. Yeah, this was it, guys. This was my I think 41 or 42, something like that, maybe 40 even, maybe going to count, because something around 40, 3, 4, 5, 10. I think I counted 40 now. I may be mistaken. Yeah, otherwise I put maybe in another Graceful Charity in there, and then we have a 40 card deck profile from Weevil Underwood. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, of course, and let me, tell me in a little bit whether you like this deck profile or this character in general. Maybe specific cards. Did you have any insect deck profiles maybe back in the day? I did possess Insect Queen in my main deck. I put it ultimately in the side deck then, because it was sometimes very much prohibiting me from winning, because it was very the disadvantage with the stats, and I didn't have any insect specific decks, so it was like a mix up from all, and there the Insect Queen was not working that well. So next character is of course coming up this week, and you guys might be surprised maybe which character I will be choosing, but also it also depends whether or not the things that I hide, my sets that I hide coming on point. But you don't have to care much, because I will put down in deck profile from a character, and also open sets, but also with the timing of the delivery, it depends which character it will be. So maybe I will putting down another one as I originally planned, because I already have the sets of one person on one character, but not of the other, as it didn't arrive yet. And as like always, I already counted again. It's more than 40 cards, so don't bother. As I already saying in all times, it's a very much tradition right now. I'm saying good morning, good evening, good day, and good afternoon whenever you might see and witness this deck profile or this video. This is from me. I'm recording this right now in the evening. I'm going to sleep now. From me from now, and Slife a Maniac. Bye.